This is a 70-meter rope, and this is a 70-meter rope? Show me a person that would rappel on this 5mm rope that wouldn't have a tight sphincter. I have never seen a 5mm rope, personally, approved on the label for rappelling. And so I have a ton of questions that we're gonna explore in this video. Now, most climbing gear is super good enough, but when you get into stuff this small, details matter, so please do not rappel on just any 5mm rope you find, and this is expert use only stuff, and I'm going to be brake testing it beyond the use they intended it for, so please don't do stuff you see on this channel and get yourself hurt. This isn't the type of thing that you pull out at the top of the mountain and go, let's figure this out, which I've done all too often. But I actually, when I'm dealing with something this small, I do really want to understand it here where I'm safe-ish in my lab. And so grab your popcorn, let's look at this thing. Now this says 21 grams per meter, but Pure Line is 6mm in diameter and is only 20 grams per meter. Petzl Rad Line is slightly heavier at 22 grams per meter and is 6mm. 5.9mm power cord is 24 grams per meter. And 5.4mm VTX is 20 grams per meter. So it's not the lightest high-tech cord out there, but that's because it has nylon in it. And so the core is 100% aramid, and then the sheath is a mix of aramid and nylon. Let's cut off this beautiful rope end. That is 100% aramid. And notice the core is braided and doesn't have the loose strands that are in like thicker rope. Now it's UIA rated to the EN564 standard, which is for accessory cord, and I don't understand enough about it why this accessory cord is okay to rappel on and others theoretically are not. Now this is ultra static like all the cords I've been telling you about. I can understand why you wouldn't want to fall when you're mountain climbing, but if you're on glaciers, it doesn't seem too different than Pure Line, but you're not supposed to use that, but you are able to use it for crevasse rescue, so I'm not quite sure what the difference is there, but you definitely don't want to fall on it. It's not dynamic at all. They do say it's 12 kilonewtons. Let's find out if that's true. So I am going to open this up and we're going to start messing with it. One of the benefits I think about this is the fact that the aramid is a rougher texture than Dyneema. So it's going to have better handling because I think the Pure Line is actually very tough to grip because it's made out of 100% pure dolphin skin or Dyneema. Bonus tip and how not to just drop this rope onto the ground and have 500 coils in it. That's the end. And you uncoil it. If you buy these pre-cut lengths, I do like the fact that it has a clear middle mark. If you buy it by the foot, which we will do soon, it won't have that middle mark. That's how you uncoil a rope. Super good enough. The standard rule of thumb is about 50% the strength when you tie it in a knot. And when you're using high-tech cords, you typically get less than 50%. But 7-ish kN, when you tie 8 to 8, is more than 50% of 12. So I'm pretty happy with our 8 to 8 number. Now they say if you rappel on it, that it's supposed to be double-stranded. So let's just see how strong that is, and then we'll talk about what device you would even use for that. Well, that's double. So this broke in the knot right there, and it didn't break up here where it was touching the carabiner. So I'm not too worried about the strength if you're getting 14-ish kilonewtons in a double strand situation, because even if you rappel hard on it, you would, if you weigh 1 kilonewton or 225 pounds with your gear, and you rappel in a jerky manner, you might get up to 2 kN on the anchor. But that still gives you a 7-to-1 safety ratio? You daredevil, you. My ATC is definitely not rated for 5mm, so let's go hang on this and see what's going to work. So this ATC is specifically thinner for thinner alpine lines. It's called the Alpine ATC. Oh, Jesus. Instant retake. Oh, that's terrifying. So the problem with going fast is you start going fast and then you start going faster, which makes it harder to slow down. So you really want to dial this in before you go out. So you can see that this one's already smaller than a normal ATC. So I asked my buddy at Beal, and he said to use the Air Force One, which is a single tube. Now I think the difference here is that you put both strands in the same eye. I'm not convinced yet. I mean, 5mm plus 5mm is 10mm wide, right? I'm afraid to let go. No, this is, no. Oh my God. I'm hanging on as tight as I can. Without gloves, by the way. So I thought I was a real badass once when I rappelled on an 8mm rope down to the Lost Hero Spire notch. Let me show you the trick I did for that though. Use your imagination and pretend this is 8mm. As I went like this and I put it in the ATC twice and it would look like that. And it worked for 8mm. So what if I did that with both strands? Because basically all we need is friction. I can't say it's a smooth rappel, but I have control. So if you put enough strands in anything, you can get the friction you need. Now, canyoneers have figured out how to rappel on skinny stuff, but if I'm on a glacier, I don't exactly have one of these devices. But then it begs the question is whether or not this is a good canyon rope. Let's go hang on this and see if I have the control that I need. If I wrap this enough, you can see that I have control. And what I like about these devices is I can add more control at any point. You just keep wrapping the thing, and you can even do lock-offs. Now there are ways to add friction while you have an ATC, but you're kind of Z-dragging between your leg and your clipping point. You're not supposed to rappel with one strand, but if you can wrap it around something enough, you can get the friction that you need. It's just whether or not you have the safety ratio you need. So if I have an extended rappel and my ATC's up here, that gives me room between a carabiner on my leg loop and up here, I put a single strand in this one ATC and went down here and back up to here, and whew, it ain't smooth. Yeah, it doesn't have to be smooth, I guess. Oh God. I should put a load cell on that and actually see how much force that creates. So I am 0.65 kilonewtons right now. Oh God. Wow. Oh my, really? Ooh. Wow, I got to 1.76 and now I got 1.9. I was only 0.65. Wow, that is very static. So if you're rappelling like that and it breaks at 7 and I'm getting almost 2, and if you weigh more than me, your safety ratio gets real small real fast. So rappelling seems to be tricky with that. Make sure you practice that before you need it. Hauling. I wonder when it desheathes. So a regular hand ascender is rated for 8 to 13 millimeters. That is quite a gap in there. I don't think that's gonna work very good. Oh, that didn't take very much. We did technically get to 2 kilonewtons. There's just not a lot of sheath for the teeth to have to tear through before it fully desheaths it. So these are more likely what you'd put on this rope. So let's start with the micro traction. And to be fair, it's still only rated for 8 to 11 millimeters. So you can actually see that the shape here is pushing the cam down on the wheel. So it's not just scraping it with the teeth. Oh no! Oh, we got to 3.4 on that one. 3.4 is pretty good considering it breaks at 7 in the knot. Let's test these next, and then I'll see if I can generate 3 kilonewtons without the machine. Oh, 3 kN as well. This is rated for 8 to 11 millimeters. Let's see if that's pinching it enough. Oh, wow. Consistent. If you are going to be doing a crevasse wrist, you want to make sure that you can pull 3 kN before it shreds. Let's see how hard I can pull if I do a something to one. So I have the micro traction going to a non-pulley carabiner, coming back on a non-pulley carabiner. No. And that only got me to there. Now let's try it with some tiny pulleys. We did not get to 3 kN yet. So I added the spock to the tail, and we're going to do the compound system now. So that system right there generates that right there. Now I added a pulley there and another pulley there. Holy cow. Okay, I believe that number. That's interesting. So the micro traction teeth were right there, and the spock is putting less force on this rope because of where it was in the system, so there's no markings there. So this definitely feels like a flat spot now. So that soft spot's right there. I'm gonna pull 8 to 8 to see if it's compromised. There's my soft spot. It looks like the knot is still worse for the rope at the 7 kN we're used to. Well, that makes me rethink everything I know about teeth. Now, I don't have a Gravel screen, which is actually rated for 5mm to 8mm, but I would imagine you would still want to have a little friction on that. Holy moly. On the instructions, it shows a macrod and a prusik as a third hand. I would like to know if those actually hold. So I'll try the Beal jammy, but it seems like it's the same diameter, so I don't know how it's gonna work. So let's try the French prusik first, since this is French. Holy cow. Okay, I'm stuck. Oh, you're stuck until you're not. Jeez. I'm impressed, and I have a theory is because there's 2 strands, and so it's 10 millimeters wide, not round. Now I am curious if I do use the Air Force One on my extended rappel and use the third hand. Wow. Does it hold? Ooh, that's scary though. I don't know. I'd probably want to extend this and get the spacing a little better. Nope, it works. I just got to iron it out later. I don't know if I'd want it above because it's really hard to unweight once you have the weight on the prusik. And I want the control on the hand. So I have a 4-wrap prusik here. It's on my leg loop because I don't have my distance right here. Good enough as I squint. I guess you got to use a French prusik with a French rope. Oh, that one's too jerky. Now I have a 3-wrap prusik on there. And since it's not so grabby, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I'd stick with French on that one. So you can see why you'd want to fiddle with this at home before you are up high and lean back and trust your life to this thing. Now, even though this weighs similar to these other cords, it is thinner, so it's going to fit in your pack better, and it's priced about the same as Pure Line, but it's cheaper than Radline, and one of the benefits to Radline is it's got a little bit more grip to it, versus everything's got more grip than Pure Line. Since this has more grip than Pure Line, I'm wondering if the knots that we showed in our ghosting video would actually perform better in this. You can go check out that video next, and let me know what you think in the comments. Cheers. The green rope failed before the skinny Pure Line.
Failed at the carabiner block that we had pulling on this.